sabbatical. He's taking time out, but he did take some time to have a chat with me and work this out for me to be here. I did give him one request though. I said, Pastor, if I'm coming, I need you to talk to Brother Sid Smith and make sure he doesn't go digging in that closet. Because if he hear I'm coming, he'll come way suited and booted, and I feel real underdressed. So I'm glad he talked to you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Let me say this, and I know Pastor has talked to you all before about his vision next door, of how God gave him that vision. He wanted a school. He saw children. He saw exactly what it is. He pulled out that pencil and drew exactly what that building needed to look like. But there's other parts of that story that you don't know. And it's my part, how I fit in, because I am a part of that vision of pastors. And let me just tell you briefly of how I know that I'm a part of this vision. I started education a long time ago. I mean, it was over 25 years ago. I went in, I wanted to do high school because I felt like I could relate to those kids. I could make a difference before they go out in the world. Started teaching, did some administrative work in high school, and it was always 11th and 12th grade. And the problem was, man, these 11th and 12th graders, something's missing. I think it's the 9th grade, because the 9th graders just didn't seem like they were ready for high school. So I started working with 9th graders, thinking that that was the problem. But there still seemed to be something wrong with the 9th graders. Like, okay, they're not coming into 9th grade with what they need. So what is the problem? So I go through this real extensive, long journey of trying to figure out what it is that I could do to help these children. While I'm doing that, all right, I'm able to move up. I became an assistant principal. And I was at I'm not going to say which school, but I was at a school out east, the type of school where they get their test scores all the time. Kids are going home into really big houses. There's 2 parents there. But guess what? At that school, we had a gang problem. We had a serious gang problem. No one would know it, but you could easily go in the bathroom any time of the day and it's tagged with all this gang stuff. You could easily have a child walking home and all of a sudden they get jumped from this school that nobody talks about. So as an assistant principal, it was my job to deal with that. Didn't quite know what to do. Called down to the pupil services, is what it was called then, to see, do y'all have somebody that can come out and help educate me on how to handle this situation and also help us deal with these kids? In walked this man, probably the best dressed man I ever seen in my life. I mean, his glasses matched his shoes, everything. You know, he came strolling in and he just had this demeanor about him. Introduced himself. He said, my name is Gillespie. What's your problem? So I got to talking with him about what was going on at the school. And he said, what are you seeing? And he automatically kind of knew who to gravitate to. He said, well, let me go to your cafeteria. Let me see what's going on. Because a lot of times that'll tell you a lot of things. Before I know it, he's calling kids in. He's coming back day after day. All of a sudden, it just seemed like we did not have any problems with gangs in that building on that campus. And there was always a follow-up. Fast forward to a few years later, I got the opportunity to become a principal in my old neighborhood at my old school, thinking that I know all the families and I know all the children, which I did. Same issue. I got on the phone because I had his cell phone. Hey, Gillespie, I need you to come over here again. He started having meetings with kids. He started coming over there, and all of a sudden, all those problems were gone. Absolutely gone. Fast forward about 15 years after that. At that point, I became convinced. Now, I had already moved down. I had done middle school. I had done elementary. I did pre-K, still trying to answer this question. What is it that we can do to help these children? Because when you got pre-K babies coming in, and it's like they don't really have what they need to be successful at 4 and 5 years old, something not right. So then it just became real clear to me. That's when I got my part of the vision, that it's the younger kids. It's the little kids. Did the research and found out the magic age is 2. Think about, everybody in here knows a 2-year-old. Think about 2. They busy. They get into everything. They're asking you all these questions. They won't settle down. That's because at 2, their brain wakes up. And it's like they are a mini computer, and they can't get enough information. They can't. And children learn through interaction. That's why they following you everywhere you go. That's why they asking you questions. That's why they do the things that they see you doing. Because that's how they learn. That's the magic age. So at that time, that's when it became clear, need to start a school. And we need to start working with them starting at the age of 2 years old. But I wasn't quite sure how to do it. Wasn't quite sure how to do it. And part of that blessing I got is having this person in my life who is a curriculum expert, work with special ed and developmental artists. And think about how many children you know that are young that they say, man, he's got ADD. We can't teach him. He need a pill. Man, they got autism. They need a pill. They need a special class. Your child needs to go to speech because they can't. Look, 2-year-olds can't talk. All right, they just can't. But anyway, they're telling you your child has to get these speech classes. They got impediment. They need to do this. All the while, they getting paid from the state. They get paid from the federal government for every single referral that they give, but that's a whole nother story. But anyway, having this person who totally understood that, had been working for over 20 years with children from pre-K all the way to 12th grade. And as my wife who is here now. So we came up with this concept for this school and we called it Elevate the Primary. We're gonna bring in kids starting at the age of 2. We're not going to be like other schools. We're not going to expect a child to sit down all day and listen to an adult talk all day. We're not going to do that. We're going to make sure that child, when he comes in, the first thing that they will answer when they come home, what you do today? They're going to say, I played, because they feel like they're playing all day long. But the approach that we use uses their play and uses their interest and makes sure every single thing is a teachable moment. Everything is a teachable moment. Nobody can tell me that a 2-year-old can look at a picture and say, that's grandma, that's mama, but they can't look at that symbol and say, that's a letter A and make an A sound. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So that's how we run this school. So when it came time and we ran this school, we tried the program, we started, we leased this little bitty small space, probably about as big as this table, with these kids. And that's when this guy who I met 15 years ago, you know, somebody said, man, you looking for something? Do you know Pastor Gillespie? I said, Pastor Gillespie? Yeah, he worked in the school district. I'm like, no, that can't be the same Gillespie. Can't be. And it just so happens it was. So we reconnected after 15 years and we realized, dang, Pastor, you know what? That vision that you had, I'm a part of it. And that seed got laid 15, 17 years before we got together right now. So we were able to move into this big, beautiful building next door, being able to deliver the style of education that we know that our children need and produce something to where when they're going into kindergarten, they can't be messed up. They can have the worst school, worst teacher, worst experience ever, but they still are going to be learners. They are still going to succeed. And that's the way we do things, because if you lay that seed at 2, 3, and 4, that's what happens. The research says it, nobody can deny that. So that's what we do next door. Now, for this year, for the first time, and we've been trying for years, we will be able to offer a Head Start classroom. And we've been working on that for years. So if your child is 4 and you qualify, we have a free program right next door. Right next door. All right. And not just a free program, because when this service is over, we're going to go over, we're going to open the doors. I encourage you to just come see this building, because I think most of you probably have never been over there. I'd like you to come see. Ask questions and see the thing that is the realization of what Pastor's vision is. And then all of a sudden it'll become very clear. You know what? This is the type of experience all our children need. And if we can do that, it fixes all these problems that people want to talk about. So again, we'll be over there. I do have some flyers. We're going to have a big event on this Friday from 10 to 2. Pastor Robin said I ain't talked to y'all about that yet, but we're going to have this big event over there, to where we're going to have parents come and sign up, see our school. We're going to make it a fun day. So if you know someone who's got a 4-year-old looking for pre-K, we got it. All right, bring them on over. If you have a 2, 3-year-old that's looking for a great school opportunity, a preschool, we're not a daycare. We're not. But there's not one daycare that doesn't love on their kids more than we do. It's not one daycare that you're going to feel that it's safer than they are in that building over there. But at the same time, they're going to get the best education that you can imagine of any school they could possibly give them. All of that wrapped into one. So again, we'll be over. I encourage everyone to come over, even if you just want to be nosy and see, come on. All right. And I feel bad that we didn't do this a long time ago. Have been trying. Pastor has invited me a couple of times before, but my schedule just gets a little crazy at times. And also we have our home church of Cumming Street Baptist out at Southeast Memphis that we go to religiously that we deal with. So again, come on over, and we'd love to meet you. That's it.
So there you have it. You know somebody who has a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old. Please get them enrolled over here to you all. I guarantee you they are going to learn. These kids are learning. You know, he's a principal, him and I was principals together, so he knows what he's talking about. And for him to have that school over there, he got to know what he's talking about. I know it might not be saying incorrect English, but he has to know. Anyway, so y'all, at the end of the service, you want to go over and see his school, how they operate, please go over there and just, and look and see. I think that's it, brother. I'm sorry. We need to raise. Didn't Minister Kendra do a good job this morning, y'all? We want to just bless her with a little something, she can get her maybe a nice little